Korean Peninsula. New satellite pictures seem to underscore North Korea's defiance, suggesting Kim Jong-un's regime is moving toward a nuclear test. That comes as North Korea accuses a detained American of working to overthrow the regime. Brian Todd is with us. Brian, what are you learning?
Wolf, tonight we've got new details of new activity at North Korea's nuclear test site. As a fleet of American warships does maneuvers off his coast and his rivals in Seoul and Tokyo have their militaries at the ready, Kim Jong-un seems to brush it all off, and it looks like he's got his teams at that nuclear site working overtime. At Kim Jong-un's nuclear bomb testing site, a stir of new activity. The monitoring group 38 North says satellite imagery of the Punggye-ri site reveals the pumping out of water at the North Portal, the tunnel that North Korea may have been preparing for a nuclear test. The pictures from April 25th also show what appear to be mining carts near that tunnel.
This kind of activity shows that they're either maintaining or preparing the nuclear test site for another test.
This comes days after the U.S. military observed digging activity near that same crucial tunnel. A U.S. defense official tells CNN this suggests a nuclear bomb test is not imminent. Analysts say if Kim was about to test, they'd stop activity and clear everyone out. But the danger remains.
We know North Korea is going to do another nuclear test, just as we know that they're going to do an ICBM test eventually. We just don't know when.
A top White House official now says there are additional sinister motives for Kim Jong-un in building his nuclear arsenal.
They want to use these weapons as an instrument of blackmail to achieve other goals, even including perhaps a coercive reunification of the Korean Peninsula one day, after they can attempt to coerce the United States to leave the peninsula and to abandon our alliances.
Could the U.S. be blackmailed into abandoning South Korea?
No. We have treaty obligations. We have an ironclad commitment to defend our allies.
A commitment shown in brand new video of the USS Vinson Carrier Strike Group, with fighter jets flying overhead, conducting exercises with South Korean ships. U.S. military officials say the carrier group is now off the Korean Peninsula, a response to Kim's recent provocations. This all comes as Pyongyang has accused an American, Tony Kim, of trying to overthrow the regime. He's now the third American detained in North Korea. The regime says Tony Kim had worked there temporarily as an accounting professor, but they don't say specifically what he did to get arrested.
You can basically be arrested for anything in North Korea. When we entered, they gave us a very long list of things we should not bring. No religious tracts of any sort, no Bibles, but also no porn, no firearms, no DVDs of popular movies.
Now, analysts say the North Koreans will very likely use these three Americans they're detaining as bargaining chips for some kind of concession from the U.S. But they say if any of these men becomes ill, they'll most likely be released because the regime could face some serious brushback, Wolf, if an American dies in their custody.
Right, Brian, you recently received an assessment of just how many nuclear weapons the Kim Jong-un regime has in its arsenal. Update our viewers.
Pretty ominous numbers here, Wolf. Former UN weapons inspector David Albright and his research firm recently reported that Kim has produced between 13 and 30 nuclear warheads, and by the end of 2020, he could have up to 60 of them.
The key is if they could miniaturize those warheads and put them on some sort of intercontinental ballistic missile. We'll see what happens. Brian Todd, good report. Thank you.